Hello and welcome to the Wigs and Makeup Studio. We're on tour today and we're here with Natasha from TASHAJACKS Hair. So Corinne and myself are very excited to be here, and hello Tash.
Hi guys, we're here in my workshop in Shorn, Kent, which is around about 15 minutes drive away from Ebbsfleet International. And this is where we supply all the orders out to our clients all across the world.
So Tash is very international and literally, as she just said, she ships all over the world. She's offers a bespoke service and her hair is absolute top-notch quality. Corinne and I have ordered for our theatre and also our students at WAM for many years, and she can never go wrong. She's great.
We can supply lots of different colours and lengths and textures out because we've got quite a big stock of hair, probably somewhere in the region of 3 to 4 to maybe even 500 kilos of hair that's ready to go.
So Natasha, tell me, how did you get into the industry? What made you want to become a hair merchant?
Well, Corinne, I grew up with it around family. When I was a child, my dad worked in the same house that we lived in. So we lived in the bottom half of the house, and the top half of the house was where he ran his business from. So, and it was all interlinked. My mum used to cook lunch for the workers.
I love it. That's really good.
I used to go up and get my dad for dinner, and he'd say, "Sweep the floor, Tash," and maybe in the holidays sometimes he'd say, "Come and help me do some washing," you know. And I just kind of fell into it like that, really. But I loved it. I enjoyed it, so I carried on.
So, what stage did you start preparing hair? Were you doing that at an early age, teenager, or?
I was probably 15, 16
Okay.
when I started to prepare hair, and I know all through university I used to go back and do the holidays, and if I worked on the weekend I would get paid for how many kilos of hair I produced.
Right, you got paid, that's
so
good.
yeah, I needed it to get me through student life. And yeah, it just carried on from there, really. I mean, when I finished university, my dad lost a couple of staff members, and so he said, "Tash, you've got to come and help me. I can't do all the work on my own."
That sounds like your dad.
So, so I went back and worked for 2 or 3 years for him there, and I did a bit of yo-yoing actually, because I did a degree in statistics, which is not very artistic or hair related at all,
but useful in business.
But useful, yeah. So I did a couple of years for my dad, and then I'd say no, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'd work up in town and did a few years doing the statistical side of things, and then eventually I thought I need to make a decision of what am I going to do. So I decided to start my own company. So when I first started out, we supplied mainly hairdressers for hair extensions.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff was hair extensions. It was mainly all loose hair when I started. And over the years we've kind of incorporated the bonding side of it, the wefting side of it, because hairdressers, the way that they put in the hair extensions has changed, and there's lots of different ways that hair goes into somebody's head for a set of extensions. So after supplying the hairdressers, we decided that we would branch out and maybe move into theatre, and we got a couple of theatre companies that used us for their hair
including
supplies.
Ourselves, yeah.
Including yourselves at the English National Opera.
Absolutely.
And I think we got a lot of work through word of mouth. You get a lot of different wig knotters and people that come and go from the theatres, and word just spread, and we ended up with quite a lot of the West End theatre, which then branched out over to New York to do quite a lot of Broadway.
Brilliant.
And then into opera, and then finally
film.
into film. Yes, a lot of people I think go from. Do a lot of people go from theatre to film work?
They do. And you do get designers that do both as well. And yeah, it depends on the wig makers and who's making the wigs, because you get a lot of wig makers that make for all the different disciplines.
So with all this lovely hair, where exactly does it come from?
Good question, Philip. Our hair comes from a number of different sources all across the world.
Okay.
We have collectors that we've built up over generations.
And when you say collector, somebody that physically cuts the hair off, or
Somebody will go round to hairdressers, maybe, you know, to villages in different parts of the world to make, you know, do haircuts,
Okay.
to collect the hair.
and then they'll just bundle all the hair
And
up.
then they'll bundle it all up, and then we get a supply that comes all together.
So traditionally, when people are talking about your Asian hair and your European hair and your Russian hair, it's not just those areas.
I don't think it's from those areas anymore, and we're trying to move away from calling hair from different places,
Okay, makes sense.
because it's about the texture of it. It's not necessarily about where it comes from. You get different people live in lots of different places now. You know, people are very international.
Yeah.
So it depends on the texture,
Okay.
not necessarily
And I
you know
suppose
where somebody's from, does it? I mean, you
This is
do get different bases. You know, some people have quite red base colours in their hair,
Okay.
and other people have quite ashy tones
Okay.
naturally to their hair.
And I suppose you're not going to have everybody in Asia having poking straight hair and everybody in Europe having curly hair. So
Not
it's
so
all
much anymore, no.
the blended world.
I mean, traditionally, I guess that's what it was.
So I suppose that poses another question as well. So because hair comes from all around the world, I suppose it's very difficult to regulate. So that's why you rely on
Hair isn't
collectors.
regulated.
It's not regulated.
It's not a regulated industry. It can essentially come from anywhere.
Okay.
I tend to have, or we've got close relationships with all of our suppliers that we've had over many years. I tend to travel and visit our suppliers, so that I know that it's come from ethical sources as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, and I suppose the being ethical is important as well, because you do hear some of the horror stories out there.
There is a lot of horror stories out there.
So you've got your collectors, you get hair from all around the world, you get different types of hair from different parts of the world as well, so not necessarily one particular type. Mm-hmm. So all these myths about hair coming from dead people or temples, is that any truth in that?
A lot of hair does come from temples.
Okay.
But hopefully not from dead people.
That's good to hear. Great.
A lot of the collectors that we use now has been used by, you know, my father and generations. You know, it's the hair industry seems to be one of those industries that is handed down, you know, through the generations.
Okay, well, I suppose it's a very niche market as well, and you've got to be in the know for it.
It's a very niche world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, Philip, so what we've got laid out here is the different textures of hair that we sell.
Okay.
Now, you can go in between those textures if you like, but generally what we try and do is prepare all of the textures so that they're similar in each of the drawers. So let's start off with the budget hair that we get is generally very straight.
Okay.
And that's because it's been processed quite highly.
Right.
So there's no...
And when you say processed, is that kind of stripping the cuticles out?
They've stripped a lot of the cuticle off, although you will, and they've coated it in like a silicone coating.
Love a silicone.
So you get that real glassy kind of feel to it.
Okay.
But what it also means is once this hair is worn and you wash it, that silicone coating comes off.
Okay, so the hair's...
And when the silicone coating comes off, you feel that they haven't stripped it properly, and it does tangle and mat because the cuticles are mixed together.
Okay, so it's not cuticle correct, it's just...
It's not cuticle correct.
Hence coating it with a silicone, make it nice and slippy.
And to make it last longer, you want to get a lot of that silicone coating and constantly spray every time you wash it. It comes in all different colours. The dark hair is processed just as much as the blonde. Then if we go along to this straight, what we sell as straight hair, this is what we try and pick out as the straightest that we've got. And you can see there's lots of different colours. And this is, although when you hold it up probably against the camera, it's going to look fairly similar. This, you'll feel the difference as soon as you start working with it.
Okay.
This has got much more of a natural hair feel, and
Compared
it'll
to the
last.
budget.
Oh, it'll last 10 times as long. Yeah, exactly. So keep that out for a minute, and then we can have a look as you go in. This is our wavy hair range. This probably we sell, I would say 70% of our hair sales is the wavy hair, because it's very versatile.
Yeah.
Very versatile. So you're looking at, you know, you can scrunch dry it and you get a nice sort of curl to it, or you can straighten it and it'll end up quite straight.
And so if somebody was going to buy wavy hair from you, then it's really important to stipulate how wavy they want it. If they just wanted a slight kink, or they wanted it kind of a bit more extra wavy, then to make sure that they let you know that, so you can point them in the right direction.
Sure, yeah. I mean, people send us lots of pictures a lot of the time to denote a wave pattern or a curl.
Okay.
Let's look at some more curly hair. Look, this is what we've kind of put some of it back here. It's all right. So some of these are really quite curly. I tend to leave a bit of a longer taper on the really curly hair, because if you prepare it with a really, you know, so it's the same thickness at the top as it is at the bottom, and it becomes quite heavy.
Yeah.
And when it becomes quite heavy, then you lose the curl.
So I suppose it's like a natural layer, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we leave it a little, you know, a bit of a longer taper on some of it, it does end up, you know, and then scrunch dry it in the wig that you're making, then it'll go really curly.
And so this is being brushed down into the coil, and then once it's kind of knotted with and scrunched, you'll get like the curl pattern back.
You'll get it'll be much curlier, because when we prepare it, and we have to straighten it. We try and straighten it as much as possible.
And just looking at the hair here, even though the colours that I've got here, I don't know whether you can sort of see that from over here, but it's a very similar tone, but they are different shades. So again, when people are buying hair from you, they either send you a sample, or they'll kind of tell you what kind of shade they're looking for on a colour chart or something. You can closely match that.
Yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves on getting a bespoke colour match for all of our clients.
And I know you do that very well.
So you can send us little samples. We get pictures that are sent on by email or by text, or we can use the colour charts. Let's have a look here at single drawn versus double drawn hair.
Okay, let's have a look what we've got here.
So this is made up of all single donor pieces.
So these are individual pieces of a single head of hair?
The individual pieces of one person's head.
Okay.
It's all single drawn. We've lifted it a shade or so, and we've washed it and conditioned it. So, and then we need to double draw it.
Okay.
So once it's double drawn, it looks like this. So we've got all of the different lengths that we produce out of this one head. We can have a look here at a single drawn piece, and you can see all the short that's in it, which will produce all the short lengths.
So this is fresh off a head, isn't it? So this has got the many lengths in, and you saw the short when you tip it upside down. That's brilliant. I love that. That's absolutely amazing. And you can also see the difference here, can't you, between, you know, how it's tapered, because obviously it's got shorter hair here and longer hair here.
And you can feel it. It's much thicker really at the top, and it's very thin at the bottom. So you get all the lengths out of it when you draw it out.
That's amazing. How many heads of hair is it within this section here, do you think?
This is probably two of these.
Oh, okay.
About two of them. Okay, so how we draw all the lengths out?
Okay.
Using this. We'll put it in the brushes with the root at the top.
Yeah.
And the point at the end. We'll draw it out so that it's.
So you're pulling out each of the lengths.
We're pulling out each of the lengths.
Okay.
So it's all together at the top.
Right.
We'll then cut off all the split ends, and then we'll put it back in. So then this time it's going to be this way up. This will all be neat and tidy at the top. It's all gathered to the same length at the top, and then we draw the lengths out again. And this is where you produce this length, then the next length, and the next length, all the way down to the very short.
That's amazing. And so what sort of wastage do you get out of it? Because there will be some shorter pieces, won't there, in there as well?
So from this point, from when it's collected here to this point, we probably make somewhere between 5%, maybe about 5% waste.
It's not a lot.
Not a lot at that point. We produce 6 inch will be the shortest hair, and that's going to be for men's toupees, probably mostly.
Yeah, short men's wigs.
Toupees or pieces.
Yeah.
And the longest, well, the longer you go, the smaller quantity we will have, obviously, because people don't, grow their hair that long. 24 inch will be the longest, like that. And then the 30-inch points, anything longer than 25 inches, will all go together. So 30-inch points, as you can see, it goes into a point.
So that's tapered into a point.
Tapered into a point.
So that means the ends are still there. And
so but you've still got a lot of long, so it goes from the drawing up goes from about 25 inches down as long as the hair goes.
And so the bundles that you sell are usually about, in 2-inch increments?
So from 6 inch, so it'll start 7, we draw down to 5. And the same, 8 inch, 10 inch, 12 inch, all the way up to 24 inch.
And generally 24 inches are long.
It's the longest double draw.
And then what if somebody needs something longer than that? Is that then a special order?
Yes, it will be very small. I've got a very small quantity of hair that's longer than 30 inches.
So what was root to point when you're talking about hair?
So the root obviously comes from the root of your head, and the point is the ends of your hair. So when we prepare the hair, we're looking at always tie it at the root end. All the 100% of the hairs, all root.
Okay.
And the ends are point.
And that's exactly how it will grow out of somebody's head.
Yeah. So it's all what we call cuticle correct.
And that's because the cuticle's running downwards on the
Cuticle's
hair
always
shaft.
running down.
Okay. So is all of your hair you supply cuticle correct?
All of our hair is cuticle correct, apart from the budget hair that we supply.
And why is that?
And the budget hair is because we don't work the hair ourselves. We buy it in ready-made with the colours, and it's got a silicone coating over the top, which stops it from tangling.
So it's not root to point correct, so there's some hair one way and some hair the other way, and hence that would rub the cuticle and cause it to backcomb.
Exactly.
And so that's why it's coated in silicone. Yeah. Is there any other process with it, or is it just silicone that they use?
I think it's just silicone that they put over the top. I don't think it might be keratin, which is very similar, isn't it?
Kind of bungs up the cuticle. Yeah. And I have heard, I don't know how true this is, but I have heard that they use acid to remove cuticle. Is that true? Do you know?
They do, yes. I have heard of lots of processes where they would remove the cuticle, or at least try and remove the cuticle. I'm not sure that anybody can do it 100%.
And that's like the really horrible processed hair that you get.
I
very
wouldn't
cheap.
like to,
avoid.
To be honest.
Okay.
The more natural the hair is, the more unprocessed it is, the better quality it is.
Makes sense.
So, can you tell me where your students come from, or how they inquire about your course?
Well, we have a big online presence, and there's a lot of word of mouth selling as well, where if somebody's come on our course, they'll tell their friends. We get quite a lot of people from the industry as well that want to kind of fine tune their skills, so they might be able to knot wigs, but they don't necessarily know how to construct the foundations or do custom head blocks. and they literally come from all around the world. We've had many courses where all 6 spaces have been filled for people from all walks of life and all over international students as well.
And they're coming from different theatres, different...
Yep, so they come from theatre, they come from industry, some people will come along because they just want to do it as a hobby. It's everybody, so it's like utter complete beginners to people that have got a little bit of experience, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting to meet these people and talk to them.
Because I suppose we're quite a small industry all over the world, and lots of people do lots of travelling as well, don't they? So,
and especially doing the online now as well, because that's all around the world. So
and the same with us. We supply hair out to all over the place, really, from I don't know, America, Canada, all over Europe. We've even got a Japanese client now. Wow. So.
We've also had students of all ages as well, so we'll have kind of 16-year-olds coming to us, and I think the oldest we've had, I think she was about 74, and it was her dream to make a wig, and it kind of made her week when she came to us. When our students buy hair from you for our courses, they'll go through the shop online, so through the Wigs and Makeup Studio.com shop, and it'll come directly through to your
I think
shop.
there's a link on your website to come straight through to our shop, and the hair packs are on there.
Great. So once they've received their hair pack, that's basically not the end of what you will do for them, is it? So if you'd like to elaborate.
Once they buy their hair pack from us, we have then got their details where we can set them up with an account. Okay. So once they finish the course with you guys, they're automatically entitled to buy whatever they need for future projects.
Okay. And that's because you supply to trade only?
And yes.
So with the trade account, so whether they buy for our live courses through the website shop or the online courses, they'll automatically be set up for the trade account.
Yes.
And then they get their hair, they make their wig with them, and then you're offering an after service as well. So if you'd like to tell us about that.
So if you're going to do future courses, then they can always come to us for advice and how to order hair. If they've got any projects that they're doing that they know what they want to end up with, we can always guide them through the buying process.
Correct.
Whether we do that via email, by telephone conversation, however they want to contact us.
So essentially they can use you for future advice, so they can talk to you about the different hair types, what projects they're on, what colour they want, so you're offering an after service basically to carry them on into the future.
That's a lot of what we do with all of our clients. Okay. Philip, we listen to the project that they're on and what they want to achieve, and we try and help them decide what hair, the lengths that they want, the textures, the colours. We need to understand exactly what they need before we supply out anyway. So it's all part of the service.
And I've got first-hand experience of that anyway, because whenever I'm doing projects for theatre, all my shows that I'm putting on, I'll always kind of come to you and I say, this is what I need, this is the lengths I need, this is the colour, and you'll always kind of get that together and pretty much deliver it exactly as I ask for, which is great. Lovely. And that's something you're never going to get when you're ordering everything individually and separately online.
Well, because we process the hair, we start with a raw cut piece of hair, we'll lift it, we'll bleach it, we'll dye it. We know what we've got in stock at any one time, so we know if it's a good piece of hair or not. Yep. If it's a bad piece of hair, it goes in the bin before you receive it.
So the most amazing thing about this, so when students come to learn with us, all very much in the wig making process, so I start off with my hair, I'll have my foundation, and then I'll knot the hair into it. The custom wig that you're making starts way beyond what you're creating, and that all kind of starts with you. So you're that pre-step, if you like, that nobody knows about. So from myself, Philip, and Corinne, and also Natasha, thank you for spending the time with us. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share it with your friends, tell everybody about it, and we will all see you soon.